we love food, colored green, bell peppers and long string beans, pickles, celery, cucumbers too. All these foods are good for you.
Welcome to another segment of Storytime Cooks. I'm Carmen Long, and we're going to be learning more about food through books. Our story today is All the Seasons of the Year by Deborah Rose. And this is a fun story. It helps us think about how the seasons change. And we're in the season of spring, but in our story, we're going to start off in winter. And winter is the season that we've just finished with, or we hope that we're finished with anyway. I love you when the winter blows, when wind chills our face, fingers, and toes, when snowflakes glitter, the quiet night, and morning greets us all in white. I really do love snow. It's so beautiful and peaceful, but I am glad that spring is coming. Although during the wintertime, there's some fun things we can do. And we pull on our gloves and we race outside to speed on our sled on a downhill ride. And this is one of those things that I love to do, is to go sledding. So much fun. This is where we are now. We're in spring. I love you when springtime breezes through, when everything smells so sweet and new, when crocuses pop and tulips flare, and daffodils are everywhere. And I actually brought us some daffodils today. And they're such pretty yellow flowers, all different shades of yellow. But it just really is so fresh and clean when springtime comes, and it really does smell good. When we send up our kites and let them soar as if they've never been flown before. If you've not flown a kite before, that might be a fun thing to do, especially on one of these days that it's a little bit windier. I love you when the summer steams, when snow and sleds are just in our dreams, and when the air is hot and full of bees, and leaves are thick in all the trees. And in this story, there's some pretty flowers growing, and the mama kitty's watering the flowers, but then she decides that her little kitty needs to cool off, and she pours some water on the kitty, on her little kitty. That's fun to play in the water in the summertime. That might be something you can look forward to. And we splash in the ocean and in the lake and the pool, flashing like fish in the watery cool. And they're really playing in the water. That looks like so much fun. I love you when fall is all ablaze, when nights turn crisp and shorten the days, when ducks look south across the pond and lift off for places far beyond, and when we run through the grass in our favorite park and then turn for home when it's almost dark. In the springtime, our days are starting to get longer. And that's one of the things that I enjoy, is that it doesn't get dark so quickly and we can play outside a whole lot more. In the summertime, we have nice long days, but then in the fall, our days start getting shorter again and it gets dark earlier. So we've had winter and spring and summer and fall, and guess what? It starts all over again every year. I love you as the seasons flow, and I can watch you change and grow. And every year we get to have a birthday. We get to be a year older. And in this story, they're having a birthday party. That's always a fun thing to do. When is your birthday? I'll always love you and hold you dear through all the seasons of the year. And our families do love us, and they do hold us dear in the spring and the summer and the fall and the winter of every year. And it just goes on and on. Well, today, since we're talking a little bit about flowers, I thought it would be fun if we made a flower. And we have a really fun vegetable flower today. We've used carrots for our flower petals, and we've used celery for our stem. But sometimes when we eat vegetables, we like to use a dip. So today we're going to be making our own dip. And in this bowl, I have already mixed in 1/4 of a cup of light mayonnaise and 1/2 a cup of light sour cream and 1/2 a cup of plain yogurt. So that's what's in this bowl. Now that by itself isn't going to taste very good, but that makes a nice creamy dip. And this is something we can make with an adult. Remember, before we start cooking, if we've got a sink around, we need to make sure we wash our hands and make sure there's someone to help you to make this mixture up. But this is something that you can make ahead and store in the refrigerator. Now, in order for it to taste good, we're going to add some seasonings. So we're going to add 1/2 of a teaspoon. And this is something that you could help maybe in the kitchen, would be to measure and mix. Those are great skills for kids to practice with. So we're going to use 1/2 a teaspoon of parsley flakes, 1/2 a teaspoon of Mrs. Dash, 1/2 a teaspoon of dried chopped onion, 1/2 a teaspoon of dill weed, and then we're just going to put in just a little bit of pepper. And it's really fun for kids to grind pepper fresh, so that might be another activity that you could do. And then we're going to put in a little bit of salt. We only need 1/8 of a teaspoon of salt, so not very much at all. I've already mixed all those things together in this little cup, so I'm just going to pour this in here. And then we're going to sit our cup right in the center of our flour. And once we stir, and actually when we're stirring, we could be counting, we could be singing a song, we could do all different kinds of activities while we're stirring to make that be a little bit more fun. And then we're going to just pour some of that right into the center of our cup, so we'll have a little individual dipping container. So this would be a great way to encourage more fruits and vegetables with your family, and I hope that will be something that you will enjoy. Thank you for coming to be with us again for another week of Storytime Cooks, and I hope you've learned some things as we talk about food through books.
We love food colored green, bell peppers and long string beans, pickles, celery, cucumbers too. All these foods